What's going on, everybody? Cam from Flamingo back again for another review, but this time on the new Crown Pod system by Uwell. If you're watching this video, you're probably looking to upgrade from the Uwell Caliburn, so I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons because I've owned one of those things forever. The Crown Pod Kit takes a lot of design aspects from the Uwell Crown 4 kit because it actually has a lot of the same Victorian-esque etchings into the black strip along the middle of the device and also having the crown on the firing switch. They created a really nice contrast between the matte and glossy colors on this device, and it all runs down the center to create a smooth blend. The Crown Pod Kit is only about as tall as the Uwell Caliburn battery, and it actually is only about 1.5 times as thick and wide as it, so it still stays super portable. The best way to describe this kit is if Uwell wanted to make their own version of the Nord. The mouthpiece is very similar and the silhouette also is too, but I just find this to be a lot more comfortable in comparison. The filling system on the Crown Pod Kit is very similar to the Caliburn, however I would say it's a lot more upgraded. I usually found that the cap on the Caliburns was pretty tricky to take off, however they made it super easy to do on the Crown Pod. The filling port itself has also been upgraded. Instead of having two identical holes, it actually has one small hole for air venting and then one hole that has a little silicone mesh in it so it doesn't spill out when it's tipped over. I also found that fill port is a little bit bigger than the Caliburn, so it's going to be able to take in even more bottle sizes. There is one design that completely transferred over from the Uwell Caliburn, and that's the boring micro USB port. I didn't think it would happen so quick, but I legitimately have more USB-C cables than I do micro USB, so it would be a lot nicer if they would just get with the times already. As with most pod systems, there isn't a whole lot going on when it comes to features, but Uwell knows the market and they made sure to put in just the essentials to make everybody happy. Uwell is known for making struggle-free devices, and this is no exception. I think the best addition that they made to this pod system was the airflow adjustment system, which is just a slider on the side of the pod itself. You usually only see rotational airflow adjustment, and those are almost always on kits that are going to take replaceable coils, so very surprising to see. The other main feature of this device is having both draw and button activated firing, which is something that they did take from the Caliburn. The last thing to mention is not necessarily a feature, but a definite upgrade from the Caliburn. The Crown Pod actually has a 1250 mAh battery compared to the Caliburn's 520, so you're going to be getting some crazy battery life with that 1 ohm coil. The 0.6 ohm pod was the most interesting to me because I don't like using salt nicotine, so this was more my speed. This pod says that it runs from 18 to 25 watts, so it's not something I necessarily want to even use with salt nicotine. I used a 70/30 VG/PG juice in here, and it didn't seem to have any problems with wicking, which is very impressive. However, I do think that the flavor output would have been a lot better if I was using a 50/50 juice. With the airflow maxed out, it does give you a nice restricted lung hit, but it isn't super warm compared to something like the Aegis Boost. I do wish the max airflow was a little bit more airy, but that's not exactly what these are designed for. Now the 1 ohm pod is going to be awesome if you like mouth-to-lung vaping or using salt nicotine. Like the 0.6 ohm pod, the airflow is very smooth on this. However, since you are running less wattage, you're definitely going to want to turn the airflow down, which is going to give you a nice, warm, flavorful vape. This pod is the most comparable to the Caliburn, and I'd say it's actually a lot better than the original 1.4 ohm pods that everyone loved. And I would even argue that it's better than those 1.2 ohm Koko pods, but that's all subjective. And now with the review wrapping up, it's time for me to let you know whether or not the Uwell Crown Pod Kit is going to be the right device for you. And the answer is yes. Maybe. Overall, the Crown Pod is a fantastic device. It feels great in the hand, it looks amazing, it's comfortable, it's easy to use, and it has power and battery life. If you already own a Caliburn and you want a little bit more power and you want better battery life, then 100% this is the device for you. And if you like using sub-ohm devices and you want something that's small, compact, but still puts out a decent cloud, again, this is the perfect device for you. But if you're a brand new vapor switching to vaping, then it's kind of a hard toss-up for me. Looks-wise, I can see a lot of people going towards the Caliburn, but I also would probably recommend it just because of the lower power, so it's going to be a bit easier during the transition period. But that doesn't mean to completely write off the Crown Pod Kit. If you do really like the look of it and you do think it's going to be a lot more comfortable for you, then by all means go for it. Both devices work really well and I can confidently recommend both of them. The only thing I really want to recommend is not going crazy high on the nicotine strengths if you are going to pick up the Crown Pod Kit. However, if you do plan on using nicotine strengths under 25 milligrams, then by all means, the Crown Pod Kit is going to be the kit for you. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little review/comparison of the Uwell Crown Pod Kit and the Uwell Caliburn. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button below and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified every time that we post a brand new video. I'm Cam from Flamingo and I'll see you in the next one.